Silence. It was my favorite sound. The rustle of turning pages, the smell of old paper, the dust motes dancing in the sunbeams filtering through the high windows of the St. Jude's Public Library. This was my kingdom, my sanctuary. My name is Emma Vale. I am 25 years old, the head librarian, and I have a very low tolerance for noise. I wear oversized glasses, cardigans that are 2 sizes too big, and I prefer the company of fictional characters to real people. Real people are loud. Real people are messy. Especially him. The double doors of the library slammed open with a bang that echoed like a gunshot. "Hello, libraries!" a voice boomed. I flinched, dropping the first edition of Pride and Prejudice I was cataloging. Striding into my sanctuary was a man who looked like he had been engineered in a lab to annoy me. He wore a leather racing jacket, tight jeans, and sunglasses indoors. He was followed by a swarm of photographers and a frantic PR agent. Jax Rivera, Formula One world champion, Playboy of the Year. The man whose face was plastered on every billboard in the city, usually selling cologne or fast cars. He took off his sunglasses, revealing eyes the color of burnt caramel, and a smirk that probably had its own fan club. "Where are the kids?" he asked his agent loudly. "I'm ready to read. The very hungry caterpillar, right? I nailed that in rehearsal." "Shh," I hissed, marching out from behind the desk. Jax looked down. He hadn't even noticed me. I was short, blending into the beige carpet. "Excuse me?" he asked. "This is a library," I whispered furiously, adjusting my glasses. "Not a pit stop. Lower your voice." Jax blinked. He looked at his agent, then back at me. A slow, amused smile spread across his face. "And you are?" "I am the person who will kick you out if you don't be quiet," I said. "And the reading corner is in the West Wing. You're in nonfiction." "Feisty." Jax grinned. He leaned down, invading my personal space. He smelled of leather, expensive soap, and trouble. "I like it. What's your name?" "Four Eyes." "Miss Vale," I corrected. "And I don't care who you are. The rules apply to everyone. No shouting, no flash photography, and absolutely no leather jackets. It squeaks when you move." The photographers snickered. Jax's smile faltered. He wasn't used to being scolded. He was used to being worshipped. "Do you know who I am?" he asked, genuinely confused. "You're the man blocking the biography section," I said, pointing to the sign. "Move." Jax stared at me. For a second I thought he was going to argue, but then he threw his head back and laughed, a loud, booming laugh that made me wince. "I like her," he told his agent. "She's got spirit, keeps me humble." He winked at me. "Lead the way, Miss Vale. Take me to the caterpillars." I sighed. It was going to be a very long afternoon. The charity event was a disaster. Jax didn't just read the book, he acted it out. He roared. He jumped on the beanbag chairs. He got the children so riled up they were running around screaming, "Mr. Rivera!" I tried to intervene, but a small child wearing a Spider-Man costume tackled my legs. "And then," Jax shouted, standing on a table, "the butterfly flew away, vroom like a Ferrari." "It's a butterfly, not a race car," I yelled over the chaos. Suddenly the door opened. A girl walked in. She was younger than me, prettier than me, and dressed in a skirt so short it was basically a belt. "Jax!" she squealed. "Oh my God, it's really you." My heart sank. It was Sophie, my younger sister. Sophie was everything I wasn't. Bubbly, popular, and obsessed with celebrity culture. She had begged me to let her come today. She ran up to Jax, ignoring the children. "I'm your biggest fan. I have all your posters. Sign my—" She glanced around, then pulled down the collar of her shirt, offering her collarbone. "Sign me." Jax grinned, hopping off the table. He took the Sharpie she offered. "Always happy to meet a fan." "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Sophie," she breathed. "I'm Emma's sister, the boring one." She gestured vaguely at me. I felt a flush of humiliation creep up my neck. The boring one. That was my label. "She's not boring," Jax said, glancing at me. "She's structured." He signed Sophie's skin. She practically swooned. "Can I get a selfie?" she asked. "Sure." They posed. Sophie pressed her chest against his arm. Jax flashed his trademark smile. I turned away, pretending to organize books. I shouldn't care. I didn't care. He was a shallow, adrenaline junkie playboy. And I was structured. "Miss Vale." I turned back. Jax was standing right behind me. He had ditched Sophie, who was now showing off her autograph to the other moms. "The kids are gone," he said. Silence restored. "Thank you," I said stiffly. "You can leave now." "Actually," he leaned against the bookshelf blocking my exit. "I need a favor. I don't give autographs. I don't want an autograph. I need a tutor." I blinked. "A what?" "My PR team says I need to look intellectual." He made air quotes. "Apparently crashing my car into a swimming pool last week was bad for my image. They want me to host a literacy gala next month. I have to give a speech about literature." He looked at the shelves helplessly. "I haven't read a book since high school, unless you count the owner's manual for a McLaren. And you want me to, what, teach you to read?" "Teach me to sound smart," he corrected. "Pick some books. Explain the themes. Make me look like I know the difference between Hemingway and Harry Potter." "No," I said. "I'll pay you," he offered. "Double your salary." "I don't want your money." "I'll donate to the library," he countered. "A new roof, computers. I saw your budget report on the desk. You guys are broke." I bit my lip. He was right. The library was falling apart. The roof leaked every time it rained. "A new roof?" I asked. "And a new HVAC system," he added. "It's freezing in here." I looked at him. He was arrogant, annoying, and loud, but he was offering to save my sanctuary. "Fine," I said. 3 sessions a week, after hours. But you follow my rules. No leather, no shouting, and you actually read the books." "Deal." He grinned, extending his hand. I took it. His skin was rough, calloused from gripping steering wheels. A jolt of static shocked me. "Ouch!" I pulled back. "Sparks," he murmured, his eyes darkening. "Interesting." He stepped closer. We were in a narrow aisle surrounded by fiction AD. "You know," he whispered, looking down at me. "You have really nice eyes. You should lose the glasses." He reached out. "Don't," I warned, backing up until I hit Jane Austen. "Why not?" he teased. "Are you afraid you'll see me too clearly?" "I see you perfectly fine, Mr. Rivera. You're trouble." "I'm the best kind of trouble," he promised. He plucked the glasses off my face. The world blurred slightly, but his face remained sharp. He was too close. I could see the golden flecks in his brown eyes. I could smell the leather of his jacket. "There she is," he whispered. "Hello, Emma." My breath hitched. Without the barrier of my glasses, I felt naked, exposed. "Give them back," I said, reaching for them. He held them up high, out of my reach. "Say please. Jax. Say please, Jax, teach me how to have fun." "I know how to have fun. Reading Moby Dick doesn't count." He lowered his hand, but instead of giving me the glasses, he hooked them onto his own shirt collar. Then he placed his hands on the shelf on either side of my head, trapping me. The skinship began. His chest brushed against mine. His knee nudged between my legs, pressing against my skirt. It wasn't accidental. It was a calculated move, precise as a race car taking a corner. "You're shaking," he noted, his voice a low rumble. "I'm angry." I lied. "You're excited," he corrected. "Your heart is racing. I can see the pulse in your neck." He leaned down and blew softly on my neck. I shivered violently. "See?" he smirked. "Body language. I'm good at reading it." "You're arrogant," I gasped. "I'm a winner," he said. "And I think I'm going to win you, Emma Vale." "Never." "Is that a challenge?" "It's a fact." He laughed softly. He leaned in until his lips were brushing my ear. "I love a challenge. Class starts tomorrow night. Don't be late, teacher." He pushed off the shelf, grabbed my glasses, and slid them back onto my face. "See you," he winked. He turned and walked away, strutting down the aisle like he owned the place. I slumped against the books, my knees weak. I touched my neck where his breath had lingered. I was in trouble, big trouble. The library at night was a different beast. Without the patrons, the silence was absolute, heavy, and intimate. I locked the front door at 8 p.m. Outside, the city was alive with noise, but inside it was just me and the books. And Jax Rivera. He arrived at 8:05, knocking on the glass. He wasn't wearing leather tonight. He wore a soft gray cashmere sweater and glasses. Fake glasses, obviously. They had no prescription. "Professor." He grinned as I let him in. "I brought snacks." He held up a bag of gummy bears. "No food in the library," I said automatically. "They're not food. They're brain fuel. Come on, loosen up. We sat at a large oak table in the reference section. The only light came from a green-shaded lamp casting a warm circle of illumination in the dark room. Okay, I said, placing a stack of books in front of him. Lesson 1, the classics. We'll start with The Great Gatsby. Jax groaned. The one with the green light? Didn't Leonardo DiCaprio die in that one? It's a book, Jax, not a movie. Same difference. He picked up the book, flipping through the pages carelessly. So rich guy wants girl. Girl marries richer guy. Rich guy dies. The end. Can I go home now? I snatched the book back. It's about the American dream. It's about longing. It's about wanting something so badly it destroys you. Sounds like racing, he muttered, his playful demeanor slipping for a second. I paused. What do you mean? Jax leaned back in his chair, balancing on two legs. Racing isn't just driving fast, Emma. It's obsession. You chase that checkered flag, that split second of perfection, and sometimes you crash. Sometimes you burn. He looked at me, his caramel eyes suddenly serious behind the fake lenses. Gatsby chased a green light. I chase a finish line. Maybe we're not so different. I stared at him. For the first time, I saw something behind the Playboy mask. Depth. Read, I said softly, pushing the book back to him. Chapter 1. He began to read aloud. His voice was surprisingly good, deep, rhythmic. He stumbled over a few words, but he tried. An hour passed. The gummy bears disappeared. We moved from the table to the floor, sitting on the rug between the aisles of poetry. Read this one, I said, handing him a book of Pablo Neruda. Poetry, really. Just read it. He cleared his throat. I crave your mouth, your voice, your hair. Silent and starving, I prowl through the streets. His voice dropped, becoming husky. He looked up from the page. Bread does not nourish me. Dawn disrupts me all day. I hunt for the liquid measure of your steps. He stopped reading. The silence in the library was thick, charged. That's intense, he whispered. It's passion, I said, my voice trembling slightly. Jax closed the book. He set it aside. He shifted closer to me on the rug. Our knees touched. Do you have passion, Emma? He asked. Besides books. I love my job. That's not passion, that's duty. What makes you burn? He reached out and took my hand. He turned it over, tracing the lines on my palm. I bet you have a fire in you, he murmured. Burnt underneath all these layers of wool and rules. He tugged on the sleeve of my oversized cardigan. Why do you hide? I don't hide. I defended, trying to pull my hand away. But he held on. You do. You wear clothes that are too big. You wear glasses you don't need. I checked your prescription, it's mild. You hide behind books because real life scares you. Real life is messy, I whispered. Books make sense. They have endings, happy endings. Real life has better middles, Jax countered. He moved closer. He wasn't touching me except for my hand, but I could feel his heat radiating like a furnace. Let me show you. He reached out with his other hand and touched the top button of my cardigan. Jax. Just one, he whispered. It's hot in here. He undid the button. Then the next. He opened the cardigan, revealing the simple silk blouse I wore underneath. It fit me perfectly, hugging my curves. Jax's eyes darkened. See hiding. He leaned in. He smelled of rain now, and that distinct scent of old paper from the books surrounding us. Can I kiss you? He asked. We're working, I breathed. We're taking a break. He didn't wait for an answer. He leaned in and pressed his lips to mine. It wasn't like the almost kiss in the aisle. This was real. His lips were soft, warm, and tasted of strawberry gummy bears. I froze for a second, then melted. I closed my eyes. My hand found its way to his hair. It was soft, not stiff with product. He deepened the kiss. His tongue brushed against mine, asking for entrance. I opened my mouth. He groaned, a low vibration that I felt in my chest. He pushed me back until I was lying on the rug, surrounded by the words of dead poets. He hovered over me, his weight supported on his elbows, caging me in. Emma. He breathed against my mouth. You taste like stories. My glasses slipped down my nose. He took them off gently and set them on a stack of books. Better, he murmured, looking into my eyes. His hand moved down my neck, tracing the line of my throat. His touch was electric. I arched into it, a small sound escaping my throat. "Jax," I gasped. "Stop!" He stopped instantly. He didn't move away, but his hands stilled. "Okay. We shouldn't." "Why not?" "Because you're Jax Rivera. You date supermodels. You date my sister's idols. I'm just the librarian." "You're the only real thing I've found in this city," he said fiercely. "Those models, they like the car. They like the fame. You liked me when I was reading a book about a caterpillar." He sat up, running a hand through his hair. He looked frustrated. "I'm not playing a game with you, Emma. I know my reputation. But give me a chance. A real chance." I sat up too, buttoning my cardigan with shaking hands. "I can't. My sister, she loves you. It would kill her." "Your sister loves the poster," Jax said. "She doesn't know me." "It doesn't matter. Family comes first." I stood up. "Lesson's over. You should go." Jax stood up. He looked at me with a mixture of disappointment and determination. "Fine," he said. "Lesson over. But I'm a fast learner, Emma, and I don't give up on a race." He walked to the door. Before he left, he turned back. "Next time," he said, "we're reading Romeo and Juliet. I think you need a lesson in fighting for what you want." He left. I locked the door behind him. I touched my lips. They were swollen. I looked down at the book of poetry. "I crave your mouth, your voice, your hair." I picked it up and hugged it to my chest. I was in trouble. I was falling for the one man I couldn't have. And worse, I think he was falling for me too. The next morning, the library was buzzing, but not with readers. "Emma." Sophie burst into my office. She was holding a tablet. "Have you seen it?" "Seen what?" I asked, looking up from my cataloging. "The video, it's viral." She shoved the screen in my face. It was a TikTok video, taken through the library window last night. It was grainy but clear enough. It showed Jax and me, sitting on the floor, kissing. The caption read, "Jax Rivera, caught making out with the librarian. Nerdy love, scandal." My blood ran cold. "You kissed him?" Sophie screamed. "You kissed Jax Rivera." "Sophie, how could you?" she sobbed. "You knew I loved him. You knew he was mine. He's not yours." "Sophie, he's a celebrity. He signed my chest," she yelled. "We had a connection, and you stole him. You're always doing this, trying to be better than me." "I'm not trying to be anything." "You're a snake," she spat. "A boring, four-eyed snake. I hate you." She stormed out of the office, slamming the door so hard the glass rattled. I sank into my chair. The nightmare had begun. My phone started ringing. The library phone started ringing. Reporters, paparazzi. I looked out the window. A news van was pulling up to the curb. I was trapped. Then my cell phone buzzed with a text. "Jax." I saw the video. "Don't panic. I'm coming to get you. Pack a bag. We're going on a field trip." I stared at the screen. Run away with the Playboy? It was insane. It was reckless. I grabbed my bag. I ran out the back door of the library just as the news vans started setting up their satellite dishes. A sleek black sports car, not a McLaren, but a vintage Mustang, idled in the alley. The passenger door flew open. "Get in, Teach!" Jax yelled over the roar of the engine. I threw my bag in and jumped into the seat. Before I could even buckle my seatbelt, Jax floored it. The car screeched, fishtailing slightly on the wet pavement before shooting down the alley and merging onto the main road. "Are you trying to kill us?" I gasped, gripping the dashboard. "I'm a professional driver, Emma. Relax." He glanced at me, his eyes hidden behind aviator sunglasses. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "I've seen my sister," I said, my voice trembling. "She hates me, Jax. She said I stole you." "She'll get over it," he said dismissively. "Fans are fickle. Next week she'll be in love with a drummer. She's my sister. It's not that simple." "Family is complicated," he agreed, his tone darkening for a split second. "But right now your biggest problem isn't your sister. It's the press. If they corner you, they'll tear you apart. Librarian seduces star. They love that narrative." "Where are we going?" "Away. I have a cabin upstate. No signal, no cameras, just trees." We drove for hours. The city skyline faded into suburbs, then into rolling green hills. The tension in the car slowly evaporated, replaced by the rhythm of the road and the classic rock playing softly on the radio. Jax wasn't the loud, obnoxious celebrity I met yesterday. He was quiet. He hummed along to the music. He bought me a bag of chips at a gas station without me asking. "So," I said, breaking the silence. "Why literature?" "Why did you really want a tutor? You could have hired a professor from Harvard." Jax sighed. He kept his eyes on the road. "My mom was an English teacher." I blinked. "Oh." "She died when I was 18, before I made it big. She used to read to me every night. Dickens, Austen, Tolkien. I stopped reading after she passed. It hurt too much." He gripped the steering wheel tighter. "But now, I'm forgetting her voice. I thought if I started reading again, maybe I'd hear her." My heart squeezed. Beneath the leather jacket and the arrogance was a boy who missed his mother. "I can help you," I whispered. "We can read all of them." He looked at me, a small, genuine smile touching his lips. "Thanks, Emma." We continued driving, but nature had other plans. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon. The sky turned a menacing shade of green. "Storm's coming," Jax noted. "A big one." Within minutes, the heavens opened. Rain lashed against the windshield so hard the wipers couldn't keep up. The wind howled, shaking the car. "I can't see the road," Jax said, slowing down to a crawl. "We need to pull over." "Where?" "There." He pointed to a flickering neon sign ahead. The Pinewood Motel. Vacancy. It looked like the setting of a horror movie, but we had no choice. We pulled into the parking lot. We ran through the rain into the small, dingy lobby. An elderly woman sat behind the desk watching a soap opera on a tiny TV. She didn't look up. "Room for two," Jack said, dripping water onto the linoleum. "One room left," the woman croaked. "Honeymoon suite." "We'll take it," Jack said, slapping a credit card on the counter. "Wait," I interjected. "One room, are there two beds?" The woman finally looked up. She eyed Jax, then me. She cackled. "It's the honeymoon suite, honey. One bed, heart-shaped." I blushed furiously. "We can't—" "Take the key," Jack said, grabbing it. "Unless you want to sleep in the car in a tornado." We walked to room 4. The woman wasn't lying. The room was decorated in 50 shades of pink. There was a jacuzzi in the corner which looked questionable, and in the center a massive red heart-shaped bed. "Well," Jack said, locking the door. "It's cozy." "It's a nightmare," I muttered, dropping my bag. "I've stayed in worse." He shrugged, peeling off his wet jacket. "At least it's dry." He started unbuttoning his shirt. "What are you doing?" I squeaked, turning around. "Taking off wet clothes before I get pneumonia. You should too." "I am not stripping in front of you." "Fine, I'll turn around." He turned his back. I quickly changed into the spare clothes I had packed, leggings and an oversized t-shirt. "Done," I said. He turned back. He was wearing sweatpants and a tight white t-shirt that clung to his damp chest. "Hungry?" he asked, pulling a protein bar from his bag. "Dinner of champions." We sat on the floor eating protein bars and listening to the storm batter the roof. The lights flickered and died. "Perfect," Jax groaned. "Power outage." He found a flashlight in the nightstand. He shone it on his face, making a spooky expression. "Boo," I giggled. I couldn't help it. "You're 5 years old." "Keeps me young." He shone the light around the room. "So, one bed." "I'll take the floor," I volunteered immediately. "Don't be ridiculous. I'm the gentleman. I'll take the floor." "You're the client. You take the bed." "We'll share," he decided. "It's a king size, plenty of room. I promise to stay on my side of the heart curve." I hesitated. The floor looked hard and cold. The bed looked soft. "Fine," I said. "But if you try anything, I will stab you with a pen." "Noted." We climbed into bed. It was awkward. We lay stiffly on opposite sides, staring at the ceiling. "Emma." "Yeah." "Tell me a story." "What kind of story?" "A happy one. I hate storms." I turned my head. In the shadows I could see his profile. He looked vulnerable again. "Once upon a time," I began softly, "there was a boy who drove faster than the wind. He wanted to catch the sun." Jax turned his head. He was listening intently. He drove and drove. I continued improvising, but the sun was always just out of reach, until one day he stopped. He looked around, and he realized the sun wasn't ahead of him. It was beside him, in the flowers, in the quiet moments. Did he catch it? Jax whispered. No. He didn't need to catch it. He just needed to feel it. Silence stretched between us. The storm raged outside, but inside under the cheap duvet it was warm. That's a good story, he murmured. He reached out. His hand found mine under the covers. He interlaced our fingers. Your hand is cold, he said. Yours is warm. He pulled my hand to his chest, pressing it over his heart. Thump, 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 steady and strong. Can I tell you a secret? He asked. Okay. I didn't kiss you in the library just to tease you, he admitted. I kissed you because you're the first person who looked at me and didn't see a paycheck. You saw a nuisance, an annoyance, a human. You are a nuisance, I smiled. I know, he shifted closer. But am I your nuisance? My breath caught. Jax. I'm tired of running, Emma. Not just from the press. From everything. When I'm with you, I don't want to run. I want to park. He leaned in. His nose brushed mine. Can I kiss you again? He asked. For real this time. No cameras. No audience. Yes, I breathed. He kissed me. It was slow, gentle, sweet. It tasted of rain and chocolate protein bars. He pulled me closer, wrapping his arms around me. I buried my hands in his hair. We didn't go further. We didn't need to. We just lay there tangled together in the heart-shaped bed, kissing until we fell asleep. The next morning I woke up alone. The sun was streaming through the cheap curtains. The storm had passed. Jax! I sat up. The room was empty. His bag was gone. Panic seized me. Had he left? Had he realized I was a mistake? I saw a note on the nightstand, written on Pinewood Motel stationery. Emma. You were right. Family comes first. I can't let your sister hate you because of me. And I can't drag you into my mess. I'm going back to face the music. Stay here. My driver will come for you at noon to take you home. Thank you for the story. Jax. I stared at the note. He had left. To protect me. To protect my relationship with Sophie. Idiot, I cried, jumping out of bed. Stupid noble idiot. I wasn't going to let him face the sharks alone. I wasn't going to be the damsel in distress waiting for a driver. I grabbed my phone. I saw the news. Leave Jax Rivera press conference at noon. I had 2 hours. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a plan. But I had read enough books to know that the heroine doesn't wait in the tower. She slays the dragon herself. I ran to the lobby. I need a taxi, I shouted at the old woman. Honey, the nearest taxi is 20 miles away. I looked out the window. A delivery truck was pulling out. I ran outside. I waved my arms. Stop, please. The driver stopped. You okay, miss? I need to get to the city, I gasped. It's an emergency, a matter of love. The driver grinned. Hop in. I climbed into the cab of the truck. I was coming for him, and I was going to rewrite this ending. The delivery truck rattled like a tin can in a blender, but it got me to the city. Thanks, Earl, I shouted, jumping out before he even fully stopped. I ran towards the Grand Hotel, where the press conference was being held. My hair was a mess. I was wearing yesterday's leggings, and I smelled like diesel fuel. I looked insane, but I didn't care. The hotel entrance was a zoo. Reporters, cameras, screaming fans holding "We Hate Emma" signs. Sophie had clearly been busy rallying the troops. I couldn't go in the front. I circled back to the loading dock. A security guard blocked the way. Delivery entrance only, he grunted. I'm with the band, I lied, breathless. What band? The librarian band. He stared at me. Go away. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I spotted a rack of catering uniforms being wheeled in. I grabbed a white chef's coat from the pile and slipped it on over my clothes. I grabbed a tray of canapes from a passing cart. Coming through, hot appetizers. I shouted, marching past the guard with confidence I didn't feel. He let me pass. I navigated the maze of corridors until I found the ballroom. I peeked through the curtain. It was packed. Flashbulbs popped like lightning. On the stage, Jax sat alone. He looked tired. He was wearing a suit, but he looked like a prisoner awaiting execution. Next to the stage, standing with the PR team, was Sophie. She was beaming. She was giving interviews, playing the victim perfectly. Yes, I heard her say to a reporter. My sister has always been jealous of me. She knew I loved Jax. She seduced him just to hurt me. It's pathological. My blood boiled. My own sister, throwing me under the bus for 5 minutes of fame. Jax tapped the microphone. The room went quiet. I'd like to make a statement, he said, his voice devoid of its usual charisma. The events of the last few days have been a distraction. I apologize to my fans. I apologize to my team. He took a deep breath. He looked down at his hands. Miss Vale, Emma. She is not to blame. She was my tutor. Nothing more. I took advantage of the situation. I coerced her. The crowd murmured. He was lying. He was taking the fall to protect me, to protect my reputation. Therefore, he continued, I am stepping away from racing for the season, to reflect on my behavior. Gasps, shouts. Jax, no! Sophie looked delighted. If Jax wasn't with me, maybe she still had a chance. I couldn't let him do this. I couldn't let him destroy his career for a lie. I dropped the tray of canapes. Crash! Everyone turned. He's lying! I shouted, marching onto the stage. Security! Sophie yelled. Let her speak, Jax commanded, standing up. Let her through. I climbed the stairs. I stood next to him. I took the microphone from his hand. Hi, I said, my voice shaking. I'm Emma, the boring librarian. I looked at the crowd. Thousands of eyes judging me. I looked at Sophie. She looked furious. Then I looked at Jax. He looked terrified for me. Jax Rivera did not coerce me, I said clearly. He didn't take advantage of me. He read poetry to me. He ate gummy bears with me. He listened to me. I turned to Sophie. And to my sister. I said, my voice gaining strength. You say I stole him. You can't steal a person, Sophie. Jax isn't a trophy. He's a human being. And he chose me. He felt sorry for you, Sophie screamed from the side. You're a charity case. Maybe, I shrugged. But at least I'm honest. You sold our private life to the tabloids for likes. You betrayed your own blood for a hashtag. The crowd turned to look at Sophie. She shrank back, realizing she had gone too far. I turned back to Jax. Don't quit racing, I told him. You love it. It's who you are. I love you more, he whispered off mic. Then prove it, I challenged. Win the race this weekend. Win it for me. He stared at me. A slow grin spread across his face. The old Jax was back. You heard the lady, he shouted into the mic. I'm racing! The crowd cheered. Jax grabbed me and kissed me, right there on stage. It was a movie moment. Until security finally arrived and dragged us both off stage for causing a riot. The aftermath. We were escorted to a private room. The adrenaline crashed. Sophie burst in. You ruined everything, she cried. I was going to be an influencer. I had sponsorships lined up. Sophie, I said tiredly, go home. I hate you. I know, I said. But I still love you, because you're my sister, even when you're a monster. She froze. She looked at me, then at Jax, who was glaring at her with pure loathing. He'll never love you, she spat. He'll get bored. He always does. She stormed out. Jax turned to me. Are you okay? No, I admitted. My sister hates me. My library is probably besieged by reporters, and I'm wearing a chef's coat. He laughed. He pulled me into a hug. You look hot in the chef's coat. Shut up. Seriously, though, he said, stroking my hair. You saved me. Again. Someone had to. So, he said, the race is in 3 days. In Monaco. Monaco. Yeah, come with me. I can't go to Monaco. I have a job. I have books to shelve. The library is closed for renovations, he reminded me. Thanks to my donation, you have 2 weeks off. I blinked. You planned this? I hoped, he admitted. Come with me, Emma. Be my lucky charm. I looked at him, the man who read poetry in the dark, the man who tried to sacrifice his career for my reputation. Okay, I whispered. But I'm bringing books. Bring a whole library. He kissed my forehead. Let's go racing. Monaco was loud, louder than the library, louder than the press conference. The roar of engines echoed off the cliffs and the luxury yachts bobbing in the harbor. The smell of burnt rubber and high-octane fuel hung heavy in the air. I stood in the VIP pit lane wearing a headset that blocked out most of the noise. I was wearing a sundress Jax's choice and a lanyard that said, Guest of Honor. Nervous, a voice crackled in my ear. I looked at the monitor. Jax was sitting in his car on the starting grid. He was strapped in helmet on, visor down, but I knew he was smiling. Terrified, I said into the mic. Please don't crash. I never crash when you're watching, he said. You're my anchor, Emma. I thought I was your tutor. That too. Hey, did you finish Pride and Prejudice? Jack's focus on the race. Mr. Darcy was misunderstood, he mused. Like me. Jax. The lights on the gantry turned red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lights out. The cars screamed off the line. Jax shot forward, weaving through the traffic with a precision that stopped my heart. The race was brutal. 78 laps of pure adrenaline. I watched the screens, my hands clasped so tight my knuckles were white. Lap 50. Jax was in second place. The leader, a German driver named Wolf, was blocking him aggressively. He's cutting me off, Jax shouted over the radio. Stay calm, his team principal ordered. Wait for the DRS zone. Lap 70. 8 laps to go. It started to rain. Just a drizzle, but on a street circuit like Monaco it was deadly. Box, 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 the team yelled. Come in for wet tires. Negative, Jax shouted back. I'm staying out. If I pit, I lose the lead. It's too dangerous, Jax, I cried into the mic. Don't be a hero. I have to win this, Emma, he said, his voice strained as he fought the sliding car. For us. He stayed out on dry tires on a wet track. It was insanity. He drifted around corners, the back of his car kissing the barriers. Sparks flew. Lap 78. Final lap. Jax was side by side with Wolf. They roared through the tunnel, the sound deafening. They came out into the chicane. Wolf made a mistake. He braked too late on the wet asphalt. He slid wide. Jax saw the gap. He didn't hesitate. He dove inside. They touched wheels. A puff of smoke. But Jax held the line. He shot past Wolf. He crossed the finish line. Yes! The team screamed. I collapsed into a chair, shaking. He did it. The idiot did it. The podium. Jax stood on the podium, drenched in champagne, holding the trophy high. The crowd chanted his name. He looked down at the pit lane. He saw me. He jumped off the podium. He didn't care about protocol. He ran through the crowd of mechanics and marshals. He reached me. He was soaked, smelling of champagne and sweat and victory. He lifted me up and spun me around. We won, he yelled. You won. I laughed, wiping champagne off his face. You're crazy. Crazy about you. He set me down. The cameras were surrounding us again, but this time it felt different. It wasn't a scandal. It was a celebration. So, he said, breathless, now that I'm a winner, do I get a reward? What do you want? A kiss? A book? A lifetime supply of gummy bears? How about a quiet night, I suggested. Done. 1 year later. The library was silent, but it wasn't empty. It was story time. 20 children sat on the new colorful rug in the renovated children's wing. The roof didn't leak anymore. The air conditioning hummed softly, and in the big armchair sat Jax Rivera. He wasn't wearing leather. He was wearing a cardigan, my influence, and reading glasses, also my influence, though he still didn't need them. He held a copy of Where the Wild Things Are. And the wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth, Jax growled, making a claw hand. The kids squealed with delight. I watched from the desk, smiling. Sophie walked in. She was carrying a stack of books. Here, she said, setting them down. Donations from the fan club. Thanks, Soph, I said. We were okay now. It took time and therapy and a lot of apologies, but we were sisters again. She had even stopped flirting with Jax mostly. He's good with them, she noted, watching Jax. He's a big kid himself, I said. The story ended. The kids clapped. Jax bowed theatrically. He walked over to the desk. He leaned over, kissing me on the nose. How did I do, Professor? A+, I said. Although your roar was a little loud for a library. I'm working on my inside voice, he whispered. He pulled a small box from his pocket. I have a new book for you to catalog, he said. He opened the box. It wasn't a book. It was a ring, a vintage diamond, elegant and timeless. It's called The Rest of Our Lives, he said. Genre romance, ending happily ever after. The library went silent. Even the kids stopped moving. Jax, I breathed. Will you marry me, Emma? Will you be my anchor? My silence in the noise. I looked at him. My speed demon. My reader. My love. Yes, I said. But only if we can have a quiet wedding. Deal. He grinned. He slipped the ring on my finger. He kissed me. And in the quiet of the library, surrounded by stories of dragons and heroes in love, we started writing our own.